welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little different. As you can tell, I am in my kitchen. There are dirty dishes in the sink. Yes, I know. This is a lived-in house. Anyways, I've been working on this setup for a long time and I'm done. So if the lighting and the audio is not perfect, please forgive me. This is a hard place to film in. Kitchens are not made to film in. Okay, so what am I doing today? There are a few things that I enjoy. One, obviously makeup. If you're here, you know this because this is a makeup channel. But two, photography. I am a professional photographer. And three, I love to bake. I like baking complicated things. I like making delicious food that makes people happy. So, food. I say food. I like baking, but I don't like cooking. Like, there is a difference. Anyways, I'm going to show you my 2-day cheesecake. This is my recipe. I used a recipe that I found online and I adapted it a little bit, tweaked it, changed it. I have perfected the process and I'm going to show you how I make my 2-day cheesecake. It can be made in one day if you skip a couple of corners, but I am going to try to make it in one day because I'm taking it to my husband's office in the morning. So we're gonna get going on this. I'm gonna be up late tonight. That's okay. There's a lot of steps and I'm going to try my best to film this in a way you can see it. I have an overhead camera right here that I will hopefully be able to get kind of what my hands are doing as well. So yeah, let's just hop into some cheesecake making. So step one in my cheesecake recipe is you need to get out your cream cheese and your eggs to get to room temperature. So I've had these out for hours while I've been trying to get all this set up. So that is going. Step two is we're gonna make the crust. So you're gonna need a springform pan. A springform pan is a pan that comes apart like this. I have tried several at this point. Some have disappointed me. We are baking this in a water bath, so it needs to be pretty watertight. So this is my first time using this particular one. I bought this one because I thought it would work better than the one that I have been using. If you don't get one that is watertight, then you're gonna have a soupy crust and that's not good. So this is what we're starting with and I'm going to cross my fingers and hope for the best. Make sure that it is locked in place. Some of them can be misaligned. Make sure the bottom is sitting flush in it. And we're gonna start with the crust. Now the crust is just Oreos and butter. We're gonna take Oreos. Hold on, it's moving. I used 20 Oreos for my crust. This is a, I believe, 9-inch pan, so depending on the size of your pan, you may need more or less. 2, 3, 4, 10, and I put them in my, I guess this is a Ninja food processor. You can just crush the Oreos up, but I personally, I like to get them as fine as possible for the crust, so. 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so there is the crushed up Oreos. Should look something like dirt, basically. And I am just going to pour this dirt directly into my pan, okay? Just like that. Next, we're gonna add the butter. Get all that out. I always put this up here away from my little one. He is currently in his bedroom, but that won't last for long. He will be in here later. Okay, so now we're gonna take some butter. All right, so we're gonna take 4 tablespoons of butter. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna put this in a little glass bowl and stick it in the microwave to melt it. All right, so we have the melted butter and I'm just gonna stir this to make sure all of it is melted. And I'm just gonna pour that right into that Oreos, crushed up Oreos. Right, so I'm just taking a spatula and I'm going to move this around till it is thoroughly coated. And I hear the pitter patter of little feet. He's in here eventually. Okay, then after that is mixed well, I'm just taking the spatula and pushing down to flatten out this crust. So you want to press this down as firmly as you can, but you don't have to be like too perfect about it. So there is what my crust looks like. And then we're gonna take some aluminum foil and you're gonna double wrap the bottom. We're gonna take a piece, wrap it up the sides, and then you take a second piece and then you turn it to where you're covering up the spots that didn't get covered and wrap that up the sides. Just try to get the sides as covered as you can with 2 pieces of aluminum foil. It's not going to cover completely. There will be a little spot here or there, but that's okay. Get it in there nice and good. And now we're gonna place this into the freezer. In the recipe it says freeze for 30 minutes. I basically just freeze it for however long it takes me to make the cheesecake batter. So let's put this in the freezer. Lincoln is normally in here helping me bake. He loves baking. We're gonna put a little bit of water in this and put it on the stove to boil. So putting this on the stove. All right, so while that is boiling, I'm gonna get out my mixer and we're gonna get to making the cheesecake batter. All right, so I have the KitchenAid. I believe it's the 6-quart. It's the big one that the bowl slides up and down instead of the top opening. It stays dirty like on the outside because I use it a lot, so. And I don't always wipe it off. Ugh. So you are going to stand the mixer with a paddle, baby. Yeah, here we go. Lincoln's joining us now. All right, so this is not one that came with the KitchenAid. I didn't like the one that came with it. So I actually bought this one and I love it. It scrapes the sides really well. And step 1 is just to beat the cream cheese. So we're gonna we're gonna put the cream cheese in. Yeah, you got hot, mommy? Don't touch. See, we're gonna put it in there. So you're gonna beat the cream cheese for about 4 minutes, just until it's nice and light and fluffy. So let's do that. And I'm gonna beat this on about a 6. After about halfway through that, I always scrape the sides of the bowl just to make sure we're getting it all evenly. And I'm not used to being on this side of it. I normally stand over there. So this is slightly awkward for me, actually. Yeah, there we go. And then I scrape this. While the stand mixer is still going, pour in slowly 2/3 cups of sugar. So I'm gonna turn it back on. Scrape the sides again. Continue to beat for another 4 minutes or so until this is super, super smooth. And then beat in 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I hope there's a teaspoon in here because this is all I have. I don't know how that happened. Oh no! This is a problem. This is a problem, Lincoln. Nope, nope, nope. How did I run out of vanilla, of all things? I just have like 5 things of vanilla in here. Okay, so I don't have any more vanilla. My father-in-law is bringing me some. While he's on his way, finish prepping. You're gonna need a roasting pan or something that you can fit your springform pan in with some water. So the water that we just boiled, we're gonna put a couple of inches into this roasting pan, stick it in the oven, preheat to 325. So that is preheating. Once he gets here, we're gonna put the vanilla in here, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then you're gonna beat the eggs one at a time. Add an egg, beat for a minute, add an egg, beat for a minute. Then we're gonna scrape the sides and add the heavy whipping cream. That's all that goes into the cheesecake base. So we're gonna do like a little montage of this as soon as he gets here, and then we will get to baking this cheesecake. Reduce the mixer to slow and pour in the whipping cream. All right, mix just until combined. Don't overmix after the whipping cream is in. Take this out. What I like to do next, I didn't always do this and it's not in the written recipe, but I do this now. I take the batter and I put it through this little strainer as I'm pouring it into the crust. So you take the crust out of the freezer and we're gonna pour the batter through here. And Lincoln loves to watch this part. But we're just gonna strain it through this. We're gonna take the spatula to kind of push it through, break up any possible little clumps that you may have. We want this batter to be super, super smooth. No clumpies. Kind of like Monica says, no crummies, I say no clumpies. Pour more in. I'm gonna scrape the edges of this bowl. Make sure to get all of the batter. Beautiful. Isn't that pretty, Lincoln? Man, trying to film this and make it at the same time, not easy. This is like something you gotta concentrate on anyways. And then you just added filming and lights and camera angles and okay, throw this in the sink. And then you take it and you tap it on the counter a couple of times just to get rid of any air bubbles, and then we will take it to the oven. We're going to keep the child back for one. We're gonna pull out this and we're going to gently place this. Lincoln, no. I'm gonna gently place this into the water bath. I want the water to go maybe a third of the way up, so I have a little extra water here. If it goes up too high, you risk it getting into your crust, but you want to have enough in there. So it's a delicate balance. And then we're going to gently push this in. All right. In the oven, we're going to bake this for 1 hour and 15 to 1 hour and a half. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour and 15 minutes. I always start with 1 hour and 15 and then, yeah, my house is a mess. And then I check it. It needs to be just starting to get a kiss of light browning on the top of it. So I'm gonna clean up my mess here. And then as soon as that is done, I will show you the next steps. Actually, while this is out, we're gonna do that. Thinking I can't make muffins right now, I'm using the oven. After it is done baking, I will show you what that's gonna look like. You're going to turn the oven off, leave it in the oven. You will prop the door open with a wooden spoon, leave it like that to slowly come down, for the temperature to slowly come down so you don't have any cracks. You're gonna leave it in there for 1 hour. And then after that, you will take it out of your water bath very carefully, set it on a cooling rack for another hour. We're gonna slowly get it to room temperature and then put it in the fridge. So once it's been in the water bath for 1 hour, on the counter for 1 hour, then you will put it in your fridge. And this is the part where it normally takes 2 days because it needs to be in the fridge for a couple of hours. So you need to have it in the fridge for at least 4 hours, or overnight is best. We're gonna go for that 4 hour mark. If not, you can put it in the freezer for just a little bit, not any more than 30 minutes or you'll change the texture, but try to have the cheesecake in the fridge for 4 hours, and then we'll get on to the mousse and ganache, but we'll show you all that, hopefully insert those clips here. And then we get to chopping a lot of chocolate and mixing a lot. You're gonna need a hand mixer for this next part. All right, I'll see you in wait, no, it's gotta cook for an hour. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. I'm gonna be up late. Wish me luck. You're gonna help Mommy with the chocolate. All right, so you're gonna take your 6 ounces of chopped chocolate and stick it in a glass bowl. Okay. And to this bowl, you're gonna add 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And we're gonna stick this over a double boiler on the stove. 2 tablespoons here. And here is our 3rd. Come on. All right, so I'm gonna put this on the stove. Basically, I'm gonna stick this over a pot of boiling water. All right, so I'm putting just a little bit of water in here. It doesn't have to be much. Just needs to boil. All right, so while that starts warming up, boiling, we're gonna move on to the fun part. Let me move this. We're gonna need 2 big mixing bowls for this next part. We're going to start by whipping up some egg whites. So, all right, so I'm gonna take a large glass bowl for the egg whites, and then I'm gonna put a metal mixing bowl into my fridge to chill, just for a few minutes. All right, so we're gonna separate 3 eggs. Put the egg yolks in here and the egg whites in the giant bowl. Oh. Whites in here. Okay, so while the chocolate is melting, stir it occasionally and go ahead and start whipping up the egg whites. This takes a little bit of time. Whip until it's slightly foamy, and then you're gonna add in the cream of tartar. Add half a teaspoon of cream of tartar and continue to whip. And then, like, this is a multitasking spot anyways, so. All right, so I can't talk while it's going either.
Okay, you're all melted.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am, thank you. All right, so whisk in your cream of tartar, and then once your chocolate and butter are melted, set that aside to cool for just a little bit, and then add in how much sugar? A 1/4 cup of sugar, and then beat until stiff peaks. You want to help Mommy pour it? Here, we're gonna hold that. Cece's gonna hold it for you, okay? Yeah, hold on. Move this to you. All right, here we go. Pour it in. Can you pour it in? Thank you. Peaks, we need stiff peaks, so keep going. Always keep going. See, like this, not there. Let's see. This is almost there, but they flop over a little bit. So a little bit more. All right. right, that right there is a stiff peak. I hope that you can see that. There's a mouse. Holds up. You do this and lift it up, and it's almost soft peaks still. I'll probably go about another 30 seconds. There we go. So that's stiff peaks. We're gonna rinse these off because I'm gonna use it with the whipping cream, but we're gonna set this aside. All right, so I rinsed these off. We're gonna reattach them and we're gonna whip the heavy whipping cream now. All right, so we're gonna take he wants to pour it in there. We're gonna take half a cup of heavy cream into our chilled bowl. Here you go. You wanna pour it? There you go. So again, we're gonna beat this till it's a little bit foamy and then we'll add in the sugar and the vanilla. So I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of sugar as I mix this in. You wanna help me? Yeah, that works too. There you go. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Okay.
Good job. Okay, so mix in the egg yolk until this is smooth. So now we're gonna combine everything. The egg whites, the whipping cream, and the, what is this called? Chocolate.
4 batter.
So now that the mousse is made, we're going to put it on top of the cheesecake. Now I'm gonna cover this with foil and put this in the fridge for at least 30 minutes to an hour before I make the ganache. And that will be the last step. And hopefully the vlogging camera will be working so I can have more than just this right here. All right, we have one last step for this cheesecake, and that's the top layer, the ganache. So first we're gonna chop up some more chocolate. So we're gonna take the remainder of that bar we had earlier. So 2 ounces of semi-sweet Ghirardelli baking chocolate. We need a total of 4.5 ounces of chocolate. So there was 2 ounces, so we need 2.5 more ounces. And I'm gonna use milk Ghirardelli chocolate chips. Lincoln is eating these. So I'm going to measure. I'm going to weigh it out on here. We need 2.5 ounces. Oh, that was almost perfect. There we go. 2.5 ounces of chocolate chips, and I'm just going to cut those up a little bit as well. Again, this is just to make it melt a little bit easier. So you can adjust this ganache to be whatever ratio of chocolate you want. If you want more of a dark chocolate ganache, you can put in some dark chocolate. Just make it to where there's 4.5 ounces of chocolate total. All right, so to make the ganache, all we do is we put half a cup of heavy whipping cream on the stove to where it's almost gonna boil. It starts to ripple. Just before it starts boiling, take it off, put the chocolate in, stir it up, it'll melt the chocolate up. Add how much vanilla? 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And then that's the ganache. We'll let that cool for 15 minutes and then put it on top of the cheesecake. Stick it back in the fridge and eat it the next day. All right, so let's get on to doing those things. All right, so after you have let your chocolate cool for about 15 minutes so it's not too hot and doesn't like melt the mousse layer, then we're going to pour this on the cheesecake. So here's what the chocolate looks like. My kid's up there. Yeah. The cheesecake. We'll take the foil off. I always replace the foil because it has condensation on it and I don't want that on the ganache. So all I do, I actually only use about half of this chocolate, but let's zoom in just a little bit. I just pour this in the center and then kind of tilt the pan to spread it out evenly. So let's do that. So pour, that was loud. And then we're just gonna tilt this because I want just a light layer of this. It's pretty sweet, so I don't want it to be like caked on too thick. So I don't use all the ganache that I make. And our cheesecake is now made. I'm gonna put a new layer of foil on this and then we're gonna put it in the fridge overnight. We'll come back in the morning, slice it and see what this looks like. Hope and pray that no water got on the crust. And that's how you make this monstrosity. Let me get the foil. All right, so see you and few with a finished cheesecake. All right, so it is actually several days later. The cheesecake I made for this video is completely gone now. I did take footage of me cutting that cheesecake up and tasting it to show you, but that footage the entire time was focused on my dirty dishes. Actually, is it focusing on me today? Let's hope it is. So I made a new cheesecake yesterday and today, so it is now time to take it out of the fridge. Let me go grab that and show you what it looks like. All right, let me turn the overhead camera on. There we go. Here is what the cheesecake looks like all finished. We're going to pop this off, so all you do is unclasp this and release it. And then I normally like to get messy doing this, but I push it up through it, but you can lift it too. Just depends on how stuck that ganache is. There we go. All right, so here is what the cheesecake looks like. I'm going to get a close-up of a cut piece for you. I'm gonna take a couple of shots, but let's go ahead and cut into this and see how it tastes. All right. This is a giant piece. This stuff is very sweet. The only reason I'm cutting a piece this big is because I'm gonna try to get some pictures of this. That is so good. Here is a side view of this cheesecake. I'm gonna try and get a better slice of this to get a shot of it so you can see all nice and pretty. But here's the cheesecake. It is so delicious. All right, so that wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you make this at home. If you do, please let me know in the comments how it goes. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you want me to make more sweets on this channel, I have several recipes that are my go-tos for desserts. So that's gonna be it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already and wanna see future videos, hit that subscribe button down below. And I will see you guys next time. Stay gorgeous. Bye. No. I love you. Please don't put that in there. I meant in there. I hope this turns out good. I'm kind of excited but nervous. Glad that was on film. You ready to take a bath? Yeah, it's time to take a bath and go to bed. It's late.